The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
You are now listening to The Great Paranormal Debate with me, Kerry Ann.
And don't forget me, Paul Rook. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Great Paranormal Debate. I'm your host, Paul Rook, for this evening, and I'm joined by Kerry Ann. Kerry, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hello, awesome. I really have to apologise for the false start we had, but technical issues, and we are fine now, so we're sorted.
Nearly
there.
Didn't make it.
I know, false start, so we had to do it again.
Yes. How are you, Paul?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. How are you?
Good. Anything paranormal related happening with you this week, the weekend, or anything going on during the week?
Well, no, I think we're having a bit of a radio get together, aren't we, on Saturday evening?
Yes,
so
we are.
I'm really looking forward to that. As for anything paranormal, I don't know. I don't know where we're going Saturday night. So I don't know. Are they haunted?
Well, no, I don't think they are, but you never know. Might end up over the jetty.
Well, there you go. We'll go there. That's fine.
Well, I mean, I love this show. I love doing this show with you. The Great Paranormal Debate. Originally, the idea was that we would debate topics, but a lot of the time we find really fascinating stories within the media, and that's exactly what we've done this week. And one of the articles one that you've shared already that we're going to talk about, but the one that I've come across, and I'm sure everyone has seen this so far, is the photo, the snap of the story is that she's a young teenage girl and she goes fishing with her grandparents. Her name's Hallie, and she's 13. And she ends up taking a selfie. And in the background of this photo, you can see that I think it's her brother. And there, standing next to him, is what looks to be the apparition, apparently. The apparition of a man. Now, have you seen this, Paul?
I have indeed, and a lot of people don't really know what to make of it. I'm still a bit of two minds. It's either a phone app or someone's actually standing there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I tell you why. I mean, when I first saw it, it looks typical. It's got all the characteristics of a phone app, and it looks typical of an app. The only thing that throws me, and it would be very clear someone would have had to have created it rather than just downloaded an app, is that the actual shadow man seems to be overlapped by the brother. The brother seems to be standing in, or leaning in front of him, because the shoulder overlaps. There's no shadow of the man, or the apparition isn't, against or in front of, should I say, the boy. He's actually standing behind him, and he's actually half covered by the boy. So it would have to take someone to Photoshop it rather than an app to get it in there. I mean, but looking at the image, I mean, it's not transparent. You can't see through him. There's trees in that. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at it now. Actually, he's a little bit transparent. But I definitely will be sharing the photo or the article with our listeners this evening so he can give us our view. But I mean, other than it being a app or Photoshop, Paul, is there actually another explanation for this?
You could put it down to pareidolia also, which is basically seeing familiar shapes in inanimate objects. A bit like when you stare up at the clouds and you see fluffy white bunny rabbits and things like that. So you could put it down to that. But see, I'm not too sure. I mean, I think it's either going to be a case of something is on that glass to produce that image, or it's photoshopped in some way. That seems to be the general consensus as well. So
Yeah, I mean, now this person, you can see he's wearing a shirt. You can see he's wearing a black hat. You can see he's a black man, right? I'm assuming it looks to be, so he looks to be, sorry. And you can see features on his face and stuff like that. So that would
it's
be...
not. Say something else as well, that it doesn't seem to be. I mean, when you talk about obviously a black man, you just it's they're not obviously that black, and
Oh, of course not, no.
that sort of picture is a real dark shade of grey/black. So it's going to be very. I don't think it's going to be someone standing there, because I've never seen someone that black. If you know what I mean.
No, I do understand. I understand what you're saying. And I mean, they have stated, this was originally a Facebook post that kind of has done its rounds. And the person, actually, the original poster, said that there was no one in the background with them. There was no one there fishing with them, that they hadn't seen anyone there all day. They would have known whether this person would have been standing there at the time the photo was being taken. And I mean, again, it doesn't look like a solid person, like it was actually a person standing there. The only explanation that I would have with this, for this to appear this way, with it being kind of transparent, but still having some kind of a solid kind of looking mass to it, is that, with a slow shutter rate, having that really slow shutter rate where you can get that impression of someone there and that person moving, and it wouldn't be a full impression. Yeah. That's the only kind of explanation, if any, that I can come up with, because again, like when you said, when the eyes see things that they want to see, this person's wearing a baseball cap, this person's wearing a black shirt. I mean, that's real detail for someone just making up, because the background is basically trees and wood, but trees and branches, and that's real detail to be able to see against trees. I mean, a face I can get, maybe an outline of what looks to be a child or a person, but this, you can actually see that he's wearing a shirt, you can see that he's wearing a hat, so yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it?
It is very strange indeed. And as I said, like, the general consensus in the paranormal world is that it's not anything paranormal, and it is literally something on the glass, possibly.
Yeah, well, but I mean, I don't know. I'm definitely going to share the article, and let's see what people think.
Absolutely, I think it's a good idea to share it and get other people's opinions anyway. So yeah, go for it.
While I'm doing that, should we speak about the one that you've come across?
Okay, yeah, I saw an article the other day, because I'm interested in cryptozoology. I often scan the pages for cryptozoology stuff, and a guy in Arizona, he has released Chupacabra. Oh, I can't say the word now.
You said it absolutely perfectly.
Chupacabras. That's it. Chupacabras.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah, he basically has discovered Chupacabra remains. A guy called Christopher J. Kubash, the 31-year-old seasonal resort employee, told Cryptozoology News that he was hiking in the Arizona wilderness when he came upon the body inside a cave last Friday. This was probably 2 weeks ago now. He said, I decided to do a little bit of off-trail exploring, and I was about half a mile off the trail when I found some really well-preserved centuries-old cliff dwelling. And as he explored the cliff dwellings, he found basically he went into one of the caves, and he found a body of what appeared to be. It looks in the picture. It looks like a kangaroo. But
well, yeah, that's what I thought when I saw. I mean, I haven't come across another creature that would look similar to it, but it does really have the kind of characteristics of a small kangaroo. But I mean, would you, unless you know in that area that there's a zoo and that there's been an animal that's escaped somehow?
Well, it seems in like the desert as well. And the guy says that as he went into this cave, the air was so stale and putrid that he had only a few seconds to snap photographs of the dead animal before running out the cave, vomiting and stuff. So he instantly sent the pictures off to Cryptozoology News for some unknown reason, and no one really, he can't really identify that animal. So could it be the Chupacabra, or a dog, or a kangaroo, or a very good hoax? I mean, I really don't know.
See, I mean, I'm looking at the photos now, and you can tell it's definitely not a dog.
No,
Or it would be
the hind legs are too long for a dog. So I really don't know. I mean, it could be a kangaroo, or maybe a smaller version. I'm just trying to find if he gave a good description of it. Actually, I can't see it in the article.
So I've shared the article actually in the chat room, so the guys can have a look themselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, with this, there was actually a sighting. Didn't they actually catch one of these a little while ago in a cage I think in Mexico, was it?
There is a lot of people that do claim they catch them, but there are pretty much two descriptions of what chupacabras look like. Now, I mean, going into the history of Chupacabra, the word Chupacabra means to suck and goat, and it gained the dark mystical name from the initial reports in Puerto Rico in 1995, March and August. So way back there was 150 farm animals left officials dumbfounded, and eyewitness accounts published in local newspapers spoke of a creature with a reptilian body, oval head, bulging red eyes, fanged teeth, and a long darting tongue. The farm animals in Puerto Rico were found to be drained of blood, with puncture wounds in the neck. Now that seems to be sort of the traditional Chupacabra description, but that only goes back as far as 1995, and there's really nothing further back than that. However, it has been found in Mayan literature as far back as 1400 BC that something a bit similar has been, or they knew of something of that sort of calibre. So it's almost like it was around in the Mayan era and then just disappeared and come back in 1995.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked as we're talking, I'm looking now, and I mean, these creatures are quite scary. They look like dogs, don't they? But they're hairless, and they're more they've got more distinguished kind of features, and they're kind of reported to walk on their hind legs.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people sort of confused, like say that they're a cross between a kangaroo and some sort of dog. But you've got obviously that description of them, but then people have caught hairless dogs and claimed that they are chupacabras as well. So I'm sort of in two minds. I mean, this is a cryptozoology animal that they are trying to discover, so there must be some genuine evidence of them somewhere for them to investigate.
For them to have some kind of idea that they even exist, to be fair.
Exactly. And this guy, I mean, he was in Arizona looking through the cave system, and he come across this body of a kangaroo. Now, it must be a kangaroo on holiday, because most kangaroos are in Australia. So to go from Australia to Arizona, that's a pretty big jump. And I don't think they're quite capable of that leap just yet. So as you said, it could be sort of a circuit, like maybe they had one in a circus and it died, so they left the body there, or like travelling circus type of thing, or I don't know, maybe a family pet or something that died and they left it there. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, the guy said that the caves were prehistoric. Not that he's an expert on it, but that wouldn't even explain that the body was left there from that period, because it would be literally bones by now, wouldn't it? And
he does say that it was well preserved. He was saying that everything but the towel was quite putrid and kind of already kind of decomposed, but the rest of the body had almost like mummified in the state that it was in, but it was just that long tail. There was a description on there. It did say that he had a small head and a short neck. That he was very slender. He had long kangaroo type legs, and he had short front legs as well. But then this really long tail. That part had actually already had become very decomposed, and that's where the putrid kind of smell had come from, I'm assuming, because the rest he said was mummified and quite well preserved. My issue with this is why would he take photos and send them off? Why would he not stay, notify someone that would be someone that might be interested in?
Yeah, so I mean,
he kind of just left it.
Yeah, I mean, he left it there, and he notified the cryptozoology news, because obviously, I mean, if you was to discover something like that, who would you go to? Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't let. Well, I don't know if I would. I'd like to think that if I was in that situation, right, if I'm out on my own anyway, and I'm exploring these kind of places that are quite isolated, I say isolated, it's not, but very vast and on my own, then if I come across the finding, I'd like to think that if I was brave enough to be doing that in the first place, that I would contact them in a way that I would stay where I was, kind of said, look what I found, come and have a look.
But who would you call though? I mean, if you found obviously a human skeleton and human remains, you'd phone the police, or you've got that sort of authority to call. But when you find a dead animal, I mean, out there it's pretty much standard. In the middle of a desert, you're going to get dead animals.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. But then if he knew who to contact, though, which he clearly did, he clearly knew who to contact, and and he didn't go to, he went to a media outlet rather than going to some. I mean, there must be, just like there's loads of paranormal groups, there must be, and we've got specialists in the fields of different kind of branches of paranormal. Then I'm assuming, and I'm only saying assuming because I don't actually know, but that there's specialists in this area, and if he knew that what he had found was something that was not normal enough to be able to know that he needed to contact that person, or that media outlet, then surely he would know enough to be able to contact a specialist in that kind of field.
To be honest, I don't know the guy personally, so I really don't know.
I know.
Maybe he was sort of coerced into phoning someone to do with cryptozoology, and he just done a Google search, and the cryptozoology news. I mean, they would know people who obviously would know people that deal with that sort of thing.
I just think that there's more kind of substance to it if he actually, if they actually went along and was able to.
Well, Richard in the chat room, he said the park rangers, but I'm not sure the desert would have had a park ranger. I don't know.
No, and I don't know. I just think that in them circumstances, if you'd found something that people have been trying to prove existed for as long as they have been trying to, that you would want to be the person that found that and proved they existed beyond reasonable doubt, in the fact that they're able to take that body and research it in a scientific kind of way. And I'm only saying that not being in that position, because I'm sure in that position I probably would have lost my head and kind of was like, wouldn't know what to do and chase my own backside trying to figure out what would be the right place and the right, do you know what I mean, place to go, because I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But I also think, while he's out in the desert and he found these, you search it. I don't know. I just think that some people like to go on the hunt for things, and if you find it, it'd be nice to be prepared for what you find and to deal with it in a way that you can say beyond reasonable doubt that you found it. But again, I'm assuming that me being in that position, I would be that reasonable. I probably wouldn't be. I probably would have done the same thing as he did, I'm sure, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Hindsight's
Exactly.
a wonderful thing.
It is, and I'm sort of in. I don't think that it was a chupacabra. As I said, I think it is just a kangaroo. To be fair.
Well, yeah, possibly.
It does have that basic shape to it, and even the head and everything. I mean, it doesn't show signs of any claws or anything like that, so I'm going to go with kangaroo.
No. It's got paws. To me, it looks like it has paws. Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew that. I knew that, Paul.
Of course you did.
Really like, hey? But I mean, future reference, guys, if you do come across a find that's absolutely amazing to the point that you want to go to a media outlet, would also be good just to, try and get that, undisputed kind of evidence that you can say, actually, yeah, I'm the person that found something that people have been looking for a long time. I did it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just putting it out there. Not that to be fair, very arrogant of me. If I was in that situation, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably be acting the same way as the guy that found it, found the creature, should I say. Exactly. But I mean, what would you do in that situation?
I said, you know what, I'd probably leave it and carry on, just thinking it's just a normal dead animal that found its way in there, couldn't get out, and died. I wouldn't think anything of it, because to me it looks like a kangaroo, so I'd just put it down to that. But then I probably would have thought, well, hang on a minute, what's a kangaroo doing in Arizona? It didn't have no luggage with it or anything, so it's not an holiday. So yeah, I would probably contact some sort of cryptozoology person to go and investigate it and see what they come up with.
I mean, I would be interested to know if there'd been other reported sightings or suspected sightings of that creature in Arizona in the first place.
What creature?
I wonder. The one that we've been talking about.
And what's that one then, Kerry?
Do you know what? I've been avoiding it so much that you've just sussed. Not once have I even attempted to even pronounce the name.
Chupacabra.
And you've just now.
Yep.
Should we call them Chubs for short? We call them Chubs for short. No,
yeah, okay.
You won't. So say it for me.
The Chupacabra.
Chupacabra. First time.
Well
Chupacabra.
Done. Congratulations.
I should have a badge. But there is actually 22nd of July 2006, an Arizona man has actually said that he had captured a sighting, a suspected sighting.
That's the one
in
we're
Arizona.
talking about, though.
What, in 2002? No, sorry, July 22nd, 2016.
Yeah, that's the one we're talking about.
Okay.
So you read the article?
No. He's actually captured a live one.
Oh, yeah, might be the same bloke then.
Possibly. It said last Sunday, Bradley Crease of Sun City, Arizona, posted photos of a creature on his Facebook page that people are noting as possible Chupacabra sightings. And this was in July. So my point is, this guy is now wandering the desert, right, on his own.
Yep, as you do.
In an area that's known for the Chupacabras, because there's been other suspected sightings of him of that creature for at least a year before.
You're really impressed that you can say that now, can't you?
I'm going to keep saying it.
Yeah.
a plethora of Chupacabras. Oh, drive me. So I think that he went looking for one of those. Yeah. I think he went looking for it. He found it, and I got to be in the bonnet that he never did what I just think would be the most logical thing to do. Because obviously, Paul, you're a logical person.
Yep.
Is to report it to the right people and actually go, yeah, I've got undisputed evidence that it exists. But I'm probably boring everyone out. I get like this about things. This and the dance to Back to the Future, when they start playing the rock and roll and everyone instantly knows the dance moves, instantly, exactly the same.
Oh, but that's time travel for you. But it's another show.
Well, so you're telling me every person in that scene time travelled, yeah?
Yeah.
No, Paul.
Timey-wimey stuff. Timey-wimey. Don't go there.
Where's the logic in that? There's no logic. That must be the reasonable one. No, it doesn't make sense.
No,
Right?
the whole film don't make sense. But anyway, carry on.
To be fair, I was fine with it up until that point. Anyway, talking about films.
So don't get me started on that, because the whole timeline just sucks. It's rubbish. Carry on.
Well, the biggest issue there is the dance, but we've got so much more we want to talk about. I want to discuss another article that we come across, and I also want to talk about some of the films that are allegedly being released this year, and some of them fantastic. But I think we've got a few adverts to play, haven't we?
Have we? Oh yeah, so we have. I do believe we do have a few.
Yes.
Yeah. So I shall play them now, I believe.
Hi, this is Mark. You can join me and Kerry at 9 p.m. every Friday night on the Dark Night Show, only on Parasearch UK Radio.
Hello, this is Kerry Ann. Please join me every Thursday at 9 p.m. on Seventh Sanctum, only on Parasearch UK Radio.
And welcome back. They're the only two adverts that I've actually got, so you just have to make do with them.
Well, I just want to acknowledge Kerry Greenaway in the she knows the struggle is real with my words. High five back, babes. Thank you for that. Looking at the chat room, we've got some conversations. Mark Manley says that he thinks the Chupacabra, no, that's it, I've lost it, he had a break since then, Chupacabra is actually a hybrid between a Mexican grey wolf and a coyote. Richard says that he thinks that Mark is actually right. And Andy also says that he also believes that it's a hybrid. Mark says there is an episode of Fact or Faked with the creature on. So we're kind of going with the same kind of thing with that, you know.
Yeah, the guy is after his 15 minutes of fame, and he basically hoaxed it, I think.
Yes, I do. I just got to say, I love in the chat room, Mark has actually broke the word down for me so that I could Chupacabra.
That's it. Well done.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you. He's actually put CHOO space PA space CAB space RA space.
That's
Cheers,
it.
Mark. Thank you.
You're not going to stop saying it now the whole show through.
No, I'm going to try. I'll stop now. I'll stop. But I wanted to. You're welcome. He says he's so cheeky. I wanted to talk about some of the films that are coming up for this year, talking about media, and I wanted to ask you about what you think about some of the remakes and whether you think that they're actually happening.
I do like the old Hammer horror films. They're absolutely fantastic. As rubbish as they look, they're just classics, you know, so that they can never be beaten. Although there are a few new remakes that are a little bit better than some of the originals. I can't remember what it's called now though. The one with Leatherface in it. Do you know
Chainsaw Massacre?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's it. That's based on a true story. But the original didn't really go too much into why the guy was like it in the first place, where the newer version did. And I sort of like that in some of the new modern films. But as a whole, most horror films now are just made to make people jump and scare easily. And it's so obvious when it's going to happen in films because they set off the ambient music and it's all quiet and then it's da-da.
I think that's worse. Because you know it's going to happen.
No.
It's going to happen at any point now. Right? Not now. In a minute. No, right now. And you're like that. I'm like that the whole time. And I've got the pillow over my face. I'm like, any minute. Right? No. And it gets me. It makes me jump out of my skin. And then I get angry at myself. And then I get angry at the film. And then it happens all over again.
I think because they give me that clue, it's like, oh, really? You're trying to make me jump again, and it hasn't worked because you tipped me off that you was going to do it. I don't like that.
It gets me every time. But I mean, some of the film now. There's one film in particular that I've seen that's got. I mean, Beetlejuice is meant to be coming out this year. I cannot even express my excitement. I am such a big Tim Burton fan. I love Tim Burton. I cannot even. Oh, honestly. I mean, these girls want to dress up like princesses. I want to dress up like Sally. That is me through and through. And that's meant to be coming out this year. It's got the actual cast from the last film in this one. But there's also The Conjuring 3. Now, I was speaking to my friend about this film, and I mean, the actual poster for The Conjuring 3, that's, you know, if it's actually coming out, is what looks to be a silhouette of a pregnant woman in a doorway with a crib in there, blacked out, you know, room with the silhouette of a rocking horse, and then the light that comes from behind the pregnant lady, you can actually see the shadow of this creature coming towards her. What could Conjuring 3 even be about? I don't know.
I really wouldn't like to hazard a guess, because whatever it'd be wrong.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it's probably a case that's been twisted and warped out of all context and didn't really happen.
Well, it is meant to be. Now, I don't know if anyone else got one of those 3D set of glasses this year for Christmas. You know, you put the mobile phone in and it turns everything kind of 3D virtual reality. Now, my kids got one of those for Christmas, and I put my mobile phone in and I was having a go, right? I do not suggest you wander around the house with them on, because although you feel like you know where you're going, you don't know where you're going, and you're more than likely to either walk into the chair, the door, or into a wall, yeah, which hurts. I'll just put that out there. But I found this one this one on YouTube, and it was the official trailer for The Conjuring 3, and it was 3D. Oh, when I tell you, I crap myself. Oh my God, it scared the bejesus out of me. Honestly, it come from all directions. There was a table thrown over to the right. These things on, you look up, you're looking up. It's like you're in the room. You look to the side, you're looking to the side. It is like inside. There was a table thrown to one side of me. There was curtains blowing the other side of me. You have the woman that's the medium sitting in front of you, telling you what's going on. Honestly, it was too much for my sensories to take in. It blew my mind. But I still don't actually know what the story is about. And it's meant to be based on the Warrens. Again, it's meant to be like the last of the trilogy.
Yep.
That's what I've got from it. But I'm not sure. I mean, I'd love to know. If anyone in the chat room knows what this one is about, please tell me.
It'd probably be about the Warrens and some demonic entity getting back at them.
Well, I mean, Richard Clements put the Warrens investigate Bully Rectory. I'm not sure if he's suggesting that's what the film's going to be about, or that the fact that he investigated Bully Rectory. But they've done the one in America. They've been to London.
The Amityville Horror was the first one, or the Amityville House was the first one. The second one was the Enfield. So yeah, I mean, it only stands to reason.
The Amityville.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure it was the Amityville House.
No, it wasn't. It was. I'll tell you what it was. It was the story about the witch. The woman who moved into the house with it is like the Amityville, but she moves into this house with a family, and it's got like a massive pond in the back garden and stuff like that. And the theory is that it was possessed by this witch. Paul, you must have watched this film.
I thought it was the Amityville House.
No.
Okay. Oh, well, it stands to reason the next one, the third one's going to be about 30 Years Drive or something like that.
Well, I think they're not going to be in the UK. But then again, I'm telling you, do you know what? I don't know if I can share YouTube videos or anything like that. But if you go onto YouTube, there is the Conjuring 3 trailer. Have a look and tell me what you think, guys. Someone suggested that it might even be about werewolves, this one. But
wouldn't surprise me.
That's one film that's coming out. That Annabelle 2 is meant to be also coming out. Saw 8. God, he's doing his rounds, isn't he?
That'd be good.
Lights Out 2. I mean, did you watch Lights Out 1?
No. I don't tend to watch those sort of films because they just ruin it for me.
The Slender Man is meant to be coming out this year.
Okay.
Now, the Slender Man plays such a massive part in today's kind of this is it creepypasta? Creepypasta, is it weird pasta? Creepypasta. There's that weird site that does all them kind of stories and stuff like that.
I really don't know what you're talking about, but okay, carry on.
Okay, so the Slender Man isn't a real existence, but the influence that has had on the younger generation. I even think that at one point there was two girls that actually went on to kill another person because they wanted to please the Slender Man. You know, so this has such an impact on the younger generation in regards to the paranormal and what they're seeing on the media within the internet. But now they've got this film coming out as well.
Yeah, I mean, even with Zozo, I think, wasn't that created?
Yes.
In a film.
Similar. Yep.
And now everyone claims they've seen him.
Well, I think the film come out before everyone started with the Zozo, whereas this is the other way around. The Slender Man was actually like a type of urban legend, and then it kind of developed its own persona, and you know, has got a bit of a following, and now it's been made into a film. But Elm Street is also coming out this year as well. Another Elm Street. The Gremlins.
Yes.
Is another one.
Awesome. I love the first two.
Gremlins. But how are they going to do that? This is my problem with like remakes. How are they going to do that? How are they going to? I don't know.
Well, what they'll do, they'll change it to an all-female cast and ruin it completely.
Well, some people have even asked if they're going to use the same like Mogwai and like Gremlins, whether they're going to use the same ones. I mean, because if you look at, for example, let's look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Hero Mutant Ninja Turtles, whatever you refer to them as. If you look at them as a film when we were younger, when it's just like normal turtles in a rubber suit. Now, have you seen the new turtle film?
I have.
They look scary.
They're so much better.
What? They look scary.
But it's so much. The film's done so much better than what the original ones.
Well, I think that's down to opinion. I prefer the originals. I used to love them, but this one I put on for 20 minutes. And I was like, yeah, nah. they're just I can't even associate it. I can't even look at them and think, yeah, I'm watching a Ninja Turtle film. I don't know what I'm watching. But there's been a few films like that, so I hope they don't change what the Gremlins look like, or I hope they use the same ones.
Well, as Andy said in the chat room, they've got the Blair Witch coming out as well. I don't know if it's been out already though, is it? I've seen the adverts. I've just not actually went to see the film.
No, I'm not sure. Oh, James has said Creepypasta is the name of the the site. But Andy Mercer has said about Zozo and Slenderman, both invested for films. And with the Blair Witch, I have seen Blair Witch Part 2.
Yep.
Have you seen it?
No, not the Part 2. I see the first one. I thought that was quite good, actually.
I think I like the concept of it more than I enjoyed the film.
Absolutely. I do like films that are a bit different, and there was one quite recent that was filmed literally all over Skype. Did you see that one? It's not
Yes,
Friends.
I did.
It wasn't Friends Request, it's something a bit similar
Unfriended.
though. Was it Unfriended?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I thought was really clever and really a good concept for a movie. And because obviously it was all filmed on Skype, it was just absolutely awesome. It really was.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I enjoyed that. And the thing is as well, I think I enjoyed the most about it is, I mean, in today's, again, I talk about today's society, the way we communicate now is so much different to how things were. So before, having someone play Knockdown Ginger and then, you know, every now and then going throughout the night, that would scare you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, that you get someone knock at the door, you answer, there'd be someone there. Less and less now, people knock at people's doors, and that's how we communicate. So to have a random just pop up every now and then in the middle of a Skype call, not knowing how they get on, not know where they're coming from, not even know who it is.
Yeah.
It's that kind of having that invasion of privacy.
I think it's also because it's quite realistic as well, because a lot of people do communicate over Skype. And it's a bit close to home, and I think that is something else that puts it on a separate level to the other films.
Yeah, and you'd like to think that your communication is a safe place. You'd like to think that when you are in a Skype call with 5 friends, you can talk openly and freely because you know it's just you 5 in that conversation. And to have someone that just turns up, don't even know how they get in there, all of it, that makes you unnerved. It unnerves you anyway because it's like an intruder.
Yeah.
You know? And it is a really good film. But there is lots of films, especially. Oh God, I cannot even. I'm
looking forward to the new Alien movie coming out.
I see that as well.
That looks really good.
Last year they done a load. I mean, they did loads of remakes last year. So Ghostbusters, although it wasn't a remake, it was more of a sequel as such.
Yeah, horrendous.
Are we going to get that again?
It was disgusting. What a waste of film.
You sound angry. You sound angry,
hate
Paul.
it.
Maybe we need to talk to Andy and we get some counselling going. you sound like you're angry about this. I mean, I love the concept of the female investigators because I think this is such a male-dominated kind of world, the paranormal. I don't think that there is a lot of amazing women investigators out there, but it's more male-dominated. So the fact that they had these women coming in, and you had the brainy one, the science one, the kind of, you had all those characters covered within within a female role. It was quite empowering. It wasn't as good.
Do you know what? I actually disagree with that because
really,
I don't think it's very male orientated. The whole paranormal world. I know more women that are into it than blokes.
But I get that. But when you look at people that's accredited, those that are recognised to have credentials within the paranormal, movement, and I mean paranormal, I'm not talking about mediumship and spiritualists. I'm talking about scientific parapsychology approach. How many females do you know?
Yeah, not many. But I mean, going on. Like with the events and dealing with people that go to the events and medium nights and just spiritualism in general, I think there is a lot of women into it than there are men.
Yes.
And I think men come on those sort of events to keep their women quiet, and it's like, I don't believe it.
And then true.
And then they're there for about 10 minutes and they go, "Yep, do you know what? You've changed my mind."
And I agree. And what we're in the chat room, and Andy does make a point. It says no one has real credentials. I do agree. That was the wrong terminology for me to use. But the point I was hoping to make was that you don't get many female people, that are considered expert. I want to be careful with the words that I'm using, but I hope that I'm getting my point across in the fact that within the paranormal and the research side of things and the scientific side of things, it is more male dominated than it is where Paul's right, in the more spiritual mediumistic side of things, it is female dominated. It is more, and I think that's something that has been acknowledged from back in the Victorian times. We've acknowledged the fact that it was more dominated for females because they felt that females were more closer to God, so to speak. So it was more females that would have done that. But and parapsychology is not recognised as a legit film. I know what you mean, but the point I was hoping to make with Paul is the fact that the reason why I enjoyed Ghostbusters as much as I did wasn't so much for the this is why I love you, Andy. You pushed me so much. The reason why I liked Ghostbusters so much was because it kind of empowered the female role within the paranormal field in a way in which you wouldn't necessarily see them within the paranormal every day.
Yeah.
Yeah? Love you, Andy. This is why you're my favourite of all. I genuinely mean that as well. I do love Andy. But yes, so that's films. And is there any other film you're looking forward to besides Gremlin?
Other than that, no, it's pretty much all the Marvel films coming out this year. Spider-Man: Homecoming, but it's not very paranormal really, so we can gloss over that.
Wow. I tell you what, while we're kind of moving away from films, and we're coming to the end of the show, I can chat for Britain. I did want to talk to you quickly about another article that I found. And this one is talking about a young lady who was pushed out of her home. Now, it says to her that the 21-year-old has now had to move into her parents' home because she is too scared to stay, and says the local council won't rehouse her. She claims the ghosts are picking on her 1-year-old child, and she says that she has also moved items around her one-bed flat in York. I mean, she's found cow pole sprayed over her cooker and has had coffee jars rearranged. Paranormal activity has also seen toy cars make noises, and they are switched off and plugs are pushed themselves out of the wall. She's even taken a series of pictures which claim to catch spirits. Now, I'm going to share the article in the chat so people can have a look at the pictures themselves. Now, first off, my first thing with this is York is so well known for the paranormal, isn't it? I mean, we was having this conversation, and it's meant to be quite known for the paranormal links and hauntings and spirits and such.
Yeah, very much so. And yeah, I mean, so much that we actually have been up there a few times on different investigations, and we've got a few coming up as well. But we went to 30 East Drive because that's just down the road from York, as is the 39 De Grey Street. That's just down the road from York. And then as we was up there also, we went through York, scouting out a few locations for Trident. So, yeah, I mean, there's loads of good locations up there to investigate. But again, with this one, why is she going to the newspaper and not a paranormal team trying to seek help?
This is the thing, right? Now, I being a person that once knew nothing about the paranormal but enjoyed and watched stuff like Most Haunted and like Ghost Adventures and stuff like that, I would never have even known where to begin to even look for a paranormal group. I wouldn't get okay. People say now I know it's like you scratch the surface and they all appear. You know, everywhere I go now, I see the paranormal, but that's because of the movement I move. That's because of the circles I move within now. But before, I wouldn't have even known where to begin. So that's the only thing I would say in her defence. But there's nothing stopping for her to sort out a spiritualist church in her area, because there you would be able to go along and be able to speak to a sensitive, if not, they would know of a paranormal team within the area as well. I mean, I tell you what, the only thing, I'm very careful because I don't want to be dismissive, because she is a young mum who is there with her child, and I could only imagine if this is going on, the fear that could cause for her and her child, and it would be a really difficult and horrible situation to be in. But I mean, I can't help but think of something that was said to me a long time ago from a friend who was an investigator, who said, you know, you find that these places that are haunted, the people actually use that as a reason to go to the council and to be rehomed if they don't want to move out of their house. So they will contact the investigation team to go along into these, so they could hope that they get the evidence, so they can take that evidence then to say, actually, look, this is the proof I've got, I don't want to be there no more. So it is that as well. I mean, they make a point of saying that it's a council property, so it's obviously plays a part within the story. Or am I wrong?
No, I do agree. You know, but I do think, I mean, even James Steele in the chat room, he said, do paranormal teams actually help? Well, I do think they do, because if you get someone come to you like her and says, this is happening, can you help me? I personally would go in, I would investigate, I'd find out exactly what's going on for starters, and then I would try and capture any evidence that I can, or try to put any logical explanations to what is actually happening with this person in her house. But if I felt then that there was something there, I could then say, right, you know, you could do a cleansing. Let's try that first. So I would get someone to come in to do a cleansing ritual. If that didn't work, I would try something else. But I would be there every step of the way trying to help her to sort this out. So yes, paranormal teams do help, but obviously there is a side to it where you've got to try. They want to try and capture evidence of activity, so it's sort of you just got to play it by ear and judge it how you want to judge it. Really, I think.
Yes, and I do agree with you there. I just think it's a difficult one because you don't want to dismiss it, because if it is that's what's going on, it would be a very difficult situation to live within, being someone that's not used to it. James says, if the team can be respectful and helpful, yes, Paul. Andy says, I've heard horror stories where para teams have scared the crap out. Sorry, I hope I was allowed to say that word. Of the people that live in the home and left them mentally scarred. And I do agree, right, with them, because I don't feel, if we was, for example, I mean, there's been a time where we've been called, I've had a phone call from someone, or I've spoken to someone, said, do you mind, that, it's a private living arrangement and we'd like to go along and just see they're having some problems. And I would always say the answer is not an investigation, because all you're going to do is encourage, in my opinion, activity where that's not what you want. That person doesn't want that to continue, because if they did, they wouldn't come to you in the first place and say, this is uncomfortable for me, I'm not happy, I want it to change.
Yeah.
So in my opinion,
I do think reassurance is a big part of it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
no, I agree.
You've got to be respectful and reassure someone that you can help, and that's pretty much as far as you can really go. But you've got to sit them down and say, look, this is what we're going to try. This is how it's supposed to work. We'll give that a try. If that doesn't work, then we're going to try something else, and then something else, until we actually get it right. Because we are dealing with unknown entities, so what might work for one might not necessarily work for the other. So you've got to keep trying, and just the fact that you keep coming back and trying is enough to give them that boost and reassurance that you are there to help. And I think that's just as important as anything, really.
Yeah, and I agree with you. But with that being said, we're coming up to the end of the show. Straight after us is Kerry Greenaway and Mark Manley, and they are doing the Dark Knights show, and they're going to be talking about disappearing islands. So after this show is finished, if you just keep pushing the refresh button, and that will take you, that once their show goes live, it will come up. But before we finish, we always do our Paranory, which is our paranormal version of Jack and Nori. So what we're going to do is I've following the what's the little animal thing's called?
What little animal?
The
Chupacabra.
Chupacabras, yes. Following those, right, I found some inspiration, and I thought, let me see if I can find anything similar within the UK. And I managed to. I mean, there's quite a few stories, but I picked this one because it's in London, in Hackney. And this isn't so much of a story like I usually tell, but more of a bit of a overview of this little creature. So, with acres of woodland, overgrown paths, and a scattering of reed marshes, shrouded by mist in the early morning, it is perhaps no wonder Hackney Marsh has attracted some curious legends. But at least one of these legends go right past curious and into outright weird. It started in 1980 when two small bear carcasses were found in Lee River. They'd been decapitated and dumped, left to rot in the stagnant water. Fast forward a year, and four young boys decided to take a walk along the marsh one winter morning. It had been a cold night and there was snow on the ground. About halfway across, they stumbled across a strange set of tracks they couldn't identify. Thinking nothing of it, they walked on, and then they saw it, something they later described as giant, great, growling, hairy thing. Whatever it was, the creature allegedly reared up on its hind legs and roared at them. The boys fled. When 50 policemen descended on the area a couple of hours later, they could find no trace of anything living out in the marsh. So what was it, a ghost? Urban legend. Local law today tends towards it being a nasty prank pulled on a group of easily frightened kids. But officially, the mystery remains unsolved, with dog walkers even now keeping one nervous eye out for the mystery beast. Have you ever heard of that, Paul?
No, not that particular one, but there are quite a lot of stories of mystery beasts roaming the countryside. You've got the Black Shuck stories. You've got them around Malden, quite a few around Essex, to be fair. And they go all up and down the country, so yeah.
Well,
interesting.
James says used to go every week football with a PE to Hackney Marsh. Bloody place was always. So I keep swearing. Stop making me swear. Used to be always cold. And Mark D, thank you, who's in the chat room. I have even worse theories behind the motivation behind some teams talking about the investigations and the teams going along to private locations. So with that being said, I think it's time for us to go, isn't it?
It is, and don't forget to refresh the page and you'll get the next show come up.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Andy, Mark, James, Still. Thank you for joining us again. And Liz and everyone else. Lizzie, thank you. Thanks for coming along.
And I second that, and have a safe week, everybody, and see you all again next week.
Hi, this is Mark. You can join me and Kerry at 9 p.m. every Friday night on the Dark Night Show, only on Parasearch UK Radio.
Hello, this is Kerry Ann. Please join me every Thursday at 9 p.m. on 7th Sanctum, only on Parasearch UK Radio. You are now listening to The Great Paranormal Debate with me, Kerry Ann.
And don't forget me, Paul Rook.